Fucking hell, man. This is fucking insane. Man.
How do you build resilience into
The same way I'm doing it now with you.
I love you too.
Frankly, I'm always excited, you know I am, but this is Sean Meo. Sean Meo I gig with loads and loads. He was the best, I think, one of the best stand-ups. I'm very, very excited because Sean Meo, the one... There... Sean Meo!
Hello, how are you?
Give us a hug. Are we allowed to hug?
We're allowed to hug, yeah.
He's quite muscly as well.
First
of all,
yes.
It's really... I'm going to blow smoke because,
What?
As in, it's really nice to have you, because I've been doing interviews with comedians and performers. We gigged quite a lot together.
I'm not sure which gig I first saw you at, but I remember you doing the Elvis thing with the music, which is like, when I hear that music, I just think of you.
Yeah.
And so I think I first saw you actually in '91 in Edinburgh.
Jeez.
But your mind plays tricks with you.
Yeah.
It certainly does when girls ask you where you've been. But you're what I would call a special act, you know?
Yeah.
And I think more a special act than a stand-up.
Yeah, I think so.
You're a prop act.
Prop act, special.
There's nothing wrong with it. I gigged with Otis Cannelloni this year.
He's been on the show.
Fucking around? Who fucks around with magic? Otis is really, like, a lot of people, like, there's people that, like, they're ambivalent, there are people who don't like it, there are people who really like it.
Yeah.
Of the ambivalence and don't like it, the criticism can be with acts is, I've seen it before, right?
Yeah.
With Otis, they're completely wrong because there's always something new in it. And also, a bit like a lot of acts that are very good in the last to stand the test of time, they're very good at making it look like it's the first time.
Because I would say you're one of the most prolific writers, as in, so it's the opposite with you. You would more or less come...
What I tend to do is, and this is so funny to me because I speak to Lee Hurst. Yeah, I can see you wincing. He and I are pretty close, and I talk to him a lot about process and about working a piece of material in. And the fact of the matter is, he's very good at improvising.
Yeah.
But he's very, very quick at putting bits into his act.
Right.
And he likes to put them together. And we talk about the tense of a word, or, you know, reversing the order in which you do it, or how quickly you do it in your act, you know, how quickly you can back it up to near the beginning or the end, how strong is it on its own, that type of thing, you know, can it stand up individually? Which, like, is a really good way of making sure, you know, something's really strong, you know. If it only works when you've got momentum, there's maybe a better way of improving it, you know. So we talk about that, and the thing is, he's not the only person I talk about it with, but he's probably the one I talk about it the most.
I can see you talking to Adam Bloom about it. Would you talk to him about it?
If you understand it better, you put it back together and it's a better joke.
No, I usually say one thing and one thing only to Adam Bloom,
and then
which
it's
is put the
his
fucking
turn.
phone down, you right? Because
Can we bleep? Is that another C word? That's right.
he's one of these people who's addicted to the phone.
Oh, is he?
In a way that I actually find quite frightening.
Well, I've just noticed that you've got an old style phone.
I've got an old style phone and I don't like answering it, and I frequently have people tell me, why is it turned off? I got a note from a promoter the other day, and he said to me, please don't send me texts at 5:30 in the morning. You may be up, but I'm asleep. And I felt like saying, turn your phone off. That's the easiest way not to get a phone call, is to turn it off. But I think I'm so sort of stuck in the mud with not old technology, but not interested in new technology or social media. So what happens is I'm not interested in the slightest. I'm sure it's been to the detriment of my career. I don't know how much, but I couldn't care less. Right. You couldn't pay me to do it.
Well, you're going to do my one.
You could pay me to do Twitter, but I think I'd go out of my way to get banned as quickly as possible.
I don't know if you can get banned anymore.
As somebody who's had a few things I quite like doing, I think that looks very addictive to me.
Have you got an addictive personality, Sean Meo?
I would say if I find something I like, I stick to it for a while. I mean, I've stuck with good things and bad things.
Yeah.
I think if you replace a bad thing, it's usually with a good thing. I think exercise is probably better than doing nothing.
Yeah, I noticed you when you were changing your shirt.
There you go.
A bit ripped.
Let me put it this way. I think I've done it all right and I've done it all wrong. And I think in order to find out how wrong it is, you have to commit to it. And boy, did I commit to it.
Bad and good?
Well, I think some things work for you, right? And some things don't. And some things that start off working for you eventually don't. You know what I mean? You end up working for that and they don't end up working for you.
When did you start comedy?
First gig was Turk's Head, 1988, September.
St Margaret's?
St Margaret's, yeah.
Bearcat.
Yeah, very close to where I live, and still do. very wanted to not be seen by anyone I knew because I didn't know. I mean, I always look at it like you're trying to learn how to fly a plane without any lessons, right?
Yeah.
That's a really good way of looking at stand-up. You're trying to get a plane up, keep it up and land it, right?
I like that quote. That's from
Right.
Sean Meo.
So to me, a lot of the analogies for doing stand-up are relevant to flying an aeroplane. I look at it being really good at this as being a fighter pilot in World War II who can't wait to get down, get refuel, go up there and kill more people. Right?
That's good, I like that.
Right, so you don't care what's up there, you don't want to miss out from it.
Right.
When you first start off, and I've talked to people who fly planes, and I've been in aeroplanes when people have got maybe their license recently and they're showing me what they can do, doing circuits, right? I don't think it's as hard to get it up as it is to land it. This is the sort of era, though. There are a platoon of people who are, I suppose, the guardians of good taste and wokeness and how the world should be a better place. And I understand that they have their hearts in the right place, but I think comedy isn't about obeying the rules, it's about breaking the rules. The whole point of jokes is to take an alternative point of view. So if I agree with you, there's no joke there. You know, if I pick a subject, I'm going to take the point of view that isn't homely, that isn't just, that isn't...
But you're trying to find the humour and going to the boundaries and...
Yeah, and also, if you ask me to describe what I'm about in life generally, I play snooker the same way, I work out the same way, I write the same way. You're looking to express yourself in whatever you do, right? And I like to push, right? Yeah. And that may be not to everyone's taste. But I think also there's room, if you want to be diverse, right? In having people who don't just toe the line. And at the moment, it seems to me that it's not that I'm not welcome. I mean, I've been doing it a long time, and I think that show business takes its course, and I do other things as well as this now. So I can't expect to get booked all the time by all the people, and I think they can have enough of you. I think it's just like any other area of show business, music, pop music, same thing. So you get to your 50s, and you'd be lucky to still be working in your 60s. I mean, I'm still gigging.
Yeah.
I enjoy gigging, but I'm not particularly enamoured with... Like, I was asked to go and do some audition for cruises, right?
Yeah, I've been asked that.
Now, the thing about doing cruises is, I've been on cruises, right? And I've done 5 or 6 years of it, and it was good fun. I did informal ships where they say, do a clean set and then do what you want. And there are people on those cruise ships, and this is their holiday, and they're with kids, and they may not want to have something that's no holds barred. I understand that, right? But if the cruise director says, you know, you can do anything you want, that's fair enough as well, but you still have to succeed at doing it. You have to please most of the audience. But there will still be, say, in an audience of 400 or 500, 8 or 9 people who decide that they're upset, they don't like it, and they're going to try and bargain for something for nothing on the ship. So a couple of times I've been on ships, and I've had some of the funniest times ever explaining myself to the ship's captain.
I can imagine you doing that.
And him saying to me, that person who's complained about you was in front of me. I watched the show last night. He went, yeah, I know, the guy's an arsehole. And he didn't do anything about it. But when I went to one ship, maybe 12 years ago, there was a guy on the ship that was in the crew bar, you know. I said, what do you do on the ship? He says, well, I'm a facilitator for all the people who get on and complain. So people start complaining before the ship's even left port, right? And he says, people get on the ship with dead cockroaches, dead mice, and they try and plant them in the rooms.
No.
So that before the ship comes out, they're already at the reservations desk going, I'm unhappy with my cabin. Look at this, right? And they know these people exist, and they don't know which cabins they're in. So the cabins are spick and span. They know every hiding place. And he told me they were putting these signs up. So if someone was looking for a place to hide the dead cockroach, like underneath the mattress, there'd be a sign there going, listen, you have to try better than that.
I see.
Yeah, you have to try better than that. If you want to work out, go to the next 7, that sort of thing.
That's great.
It's mental, isn't it?
That's funny.
But how mean-spirited are you to like get on a plane with your family or your hostage, whatever you want to call them, right? And then fly to Barbados and get on the port at Bridgetown and then pull out something what kind of arsehole are you? Well, you're the sort of arsehole who's going to complain about my act, right? And I don't want you to get anywhere. Who's that?
That's my brother.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Matthew. Should we get him on camera? It's my older brother. He's
Really?
a lawyer. It's Matthew. We're filming. Do you want to get on camera? Look, you're on camera.
No, I'm doing camera.
Do you want to go upstairs?
I've got a face for radio.
Face radio.
Are you a lawyer?
Yes.
No further questions.
I've always wanted to say that. Come in, this is Sean Meo. We've got someone in the corner as well.
Well, you got someone in the corner.
How are you?
Hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Wait, where are you
He's
going?
so much
You
better looking
staying?
than he is.
You're going to be in this episode, Tom.
Am I?
Yeah. Oh, if you're liking this show, Don't forget to like and... He's not in social media, so it doesn't matter.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Get your business people to like and subscribe, man.
Like and subscribe.
My brother, Matthew Lewis, works for a very high end.
Oh, very high end. Yeah. I only came to say hello.
Oh, okay. Well, sit in the corner so you're not in film.
See you in the shop. We'll take some
We've got an audience now. Best gig.
Well, that's a very... I looked at that. I looked at the list of things you were going to ask.
There's no list. This is impromptu. They don't know what the questions
Put it this way,
are.
all right, put it this way, right?
This one.
And
Yeah.
I think it's a really difficult question to answer accurately,
Okay.
There are different stages of what you're doing, okay? So I remember the first time I did very well at a big club. I think that gets shifted further and further aside as you make more progress. You're looking at batting averages and you're looking at reaching a peak. So I would say just because you can play the Comedy Store second on a Thursday, that's nowhere near, say, 2 years later when you're closing the Late Show.
Fine,
right?
but is there one that stands out? You think,
Well, okay,
wow.
here's one for you. I've done gigs for the troops
Yeah.
in lands far away.
Yeah.
There is something quite amazing about being, taken in on a Chinook helicopter to a forward operating base, playing to people who are armed to the teeth,
Yeah.
and knowing for a fact that you're surrounded and that you're the only person who's got a spotlight on them, and there could possibly be someone with a sniper scope looking through.
It's a little red thing on it.
So yeah, you move a lot. I mean, I played to really big audiences there. I'm not the only one by any stretch of the imagination, but for them to choose you and for you to do well, it was a really big deal to me not to literally and figuratively die. So when you're doing really hard material, which I like to do, in front of a mixed bag of American troops and English troops, playing one off against the other, right? And also, it's a dry base, right? You've been flown out there thousands of miles. You're on it with good guys from that you know, right? That's a great feeling. That was a really great feeling to have them literally banging the tables with their fists and taking the safeties off their rifles.
Worst gig then, following on.
Well, everyone's had shockers, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, there's another area where when you're not that experienced, dying on your arse feels bad at the time, but not nearly as bad as it does when you're being given accolades. I remember winning the Time Out Comedy Award and doing a gig out near Beaconsfield somewhere, and it was not a great gig anyway, right? And I remember this really clearly. Miles Crawford was on. Do you know Miles?
Of course I know Miles, yeah.
And Miles...
I shot his wedding. I did his wedding, recent
Which
wedding.
one?
Yeah, second one.
I don't want to say anything that's going to get him into more trouble, but from what I understand, he's already remarried, so he can't get any more trouble. But good luck, Miles.
You're like
but
that.
I remember them being so horrific to him, right? Really horrific, you know,
really?
calling him the N-word and all that stuff.
Seriously?
Really, really awful stuff. And I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm going to teach these guys a lesson when I get on. And they hated me.
Oh, for telling
and
them
they
off?
actually asked for him to come back, and guess what? He did another 20 minutes. He won them over, coming back after I finished, and I just won some award. And I just remember thinking to myself, every once in a while, going back to the airplane analogy, you're going to get total engine failure. Right? All trim characteristics go, and you're plummeting towards ground. There's nothing you can do about it. Try not to make it an important gig. And I think it's all very well to say that, but when it's happening to you, I mean, you must have had this happen to you, right?
Totally.
You go dry in the mouth, you can't think of anything, all your material disappears, you just look like an idiot. But I do think it's good for you to know that that's a possibility almost every single time you walk on stage. You need to be realistic about it. It cannot be your fault. Most of the time it is. It is your fault.
That's very funny. This camera I'm using is a Fujifilm GFX 100S. For portraits, for me, this is the camera. I do use other cameras for other bits and pieces, my live stuff, but for portraits for the last, I don't know, year or 2 years, I've been using this GFX 100S, which is a medium format camera, so the sensor is a bigger sensor than a full frame. It's 100 megapixels. The files, if you're shooting 100 megapixels, the files are huge. You can blow them up to poster size. Everything about the file, when I see them, are just wonderful. You can zoom into someone's eye and see everything. You can see me in their eye sometimes when I shoot. And the lens I'm using generally is this 80mm f1.7, which in full frame term is about a 1.2, I think. So it's very, very fast. I think it's the fastest medium format lens one can get. It's a beautiful combination. GFX 100S with the 80 1.7.
I've got 2 questions.
I'll let it take back to Matthew.
Yeah.
Go on then. We've got someone else in the corner there as well. That's I've forgotten your name now. How are we going to get you smiling in the photo shoot?
Yeah.
Matthew, what's the question?
Well, no, I want you to ask questions. I don't want.
How many people are over there?
There's 7 more here under the carpet. There's 7 more.
I had 2 questions. Was I'm always amazed by how people remember virtually every gig people do. So you kind of go back.
Well, you're a lawyer. And you go in court and you ask people, well, how can you be sure that this was the guy?
So what I'm saying is,
how good is your eyesight? How do you remember?
Do you remember all those gigs? Are they,
Well, no, a lot of them,
You
but not a lot
don't
of them just
remember
gone.
all of them.
Yeah.
If you actually ask me a genuine question, you don't remember all of them.
Yeah.
You remember really important ones, right?
Yeah.
And that usually involves catastrophic failure, right? You have highlights and you have lowlights. And you have things which are really unusual that are not actually anything to do with the quality of the gig. It's to do with something extraneous that happens. You know, like I remember once doing a gig. You must have done this as well, right? And I don't think this is a crime to say this, right? But some clubs at the end, you just went, do you know, I don't think anyone can organise a gig worse than these people do, right? And I was on the way to this gig with these people, and there was a guy in the car, and he said to me, I'm really excited. This is my first ever professional gig. And I said to him, everyone else in the car knows that we're heading towards a location where if they don't pay us before we go on, we're not going on. It got to that point, right? And we got there, and that conversation was had with the organisers, which is a very sticky way to start a gig, right?
Yeah.
I literally went out to a cash point and went, right, I've been paid, right? And I went back on and I thought, God, this is awful. There's about 12 head nights, none of them are paid. One of the girls is upset, she's crying. The food hasn't come out. The food that has come out's being sent back. The pumps have gone down, the lighting's crap, the stage is creaking, the stage is high. They went ahead with the gig and I went on first. And I went on stage and as I went on there I thought, God almighty, can they hear me? And I smelled this smell of electrical cable burning. Right? And I went, you know, sometimes you can imagine it because it's mixed with beer.
Having a heart attack, doesn't that the smell of having a brain tumour?
I don't know. But listen, I don't want to say this because it's going to look like I'm making it up. And then the fire alarm went off and they had an evacuation of the building. And the woman who organised it was at the back going, keep going, keep going. And I sat there and watched everyone leave. And then I heard and the whole fucking thing. And I walked outside and went, you know what I said? I don't think you could ever organise this as badly as it's organised. I was wrong. Yeah. It can be worse. It can be worse.
What was the other question then?
My other question was about bearing in mind how many things can go wrong and do go wrong when you have bad gigs and stuff like that.
Well, not. I would say the percentage.
You didn't done the question, yeah?
Okay.
Fucking hell, man. This is fucking insane.
How do you build resilience into
The same way I'm doing it now with you.
I love you too.
Look, you have to have, okay, so there are some people who are so thick-skinned it overrides any common sense, right? And their acts aren't that good, right?
Yeah.
There's also a professional thick-skinnedness that you have to have when you realise, okay, the sound's down on this side of the room. It's not their fault, right? This side of the room can hear me. Like, you've got 2 engines down, the aeroplane's still in the air. There's only so much you can get out of them. You can't just quit.
You missed the analogy of aeroplane flying before. But
So
it's very
sometimes
good.
you have to be a professional and just do the best you can. I mean, I've been in some awful situations that are not of my making, right? And I have also been in situations where I've just gone, right, well, let's crash this plane then, you know? And I've realised that crashing the plane hasn't made it any easier for the next other guys. If you're closing the gig, you can let rip because you're never going to come back. I mean, I did a gig not too long ago with Kerry Marks.
He's great, Kerry Marks.
And I remember him saying to me when we got there, is that the organiser in the front row taking pictures and like slapping his knees and asking questions and being really obtuse? I went, yeah, it is. He went, he's paid us to come here and do this and he's ruining the gig.
Yeah.
He's also decided to get a video camera and without permission from some people start filming it. And he said, well, what are you going to do? I'm just going to take the piss out of him. Now, I don't think he'll ever book me again, but I thought what he did was just horrendous. Just really unprofessional.
Good question, Matthew Basil. Matthew Basil, that's his surname, Matthew Basil Lewis.
Like Basil.
It's nice, isn't it?
Basil. Basil. He always reminds me of Thought.
Yeah, a question. We got another question.
Oh.
Have you ever had a show where you felt it went bad and then someone actually told you like, oh, it was great, it was the other way around?
Yeah. I remember doing. So when I was.
See, people are taking over my job.
There's brotherly.
So, what was the question? What was the question? Have you ever?
Have you ever had
I felt I haven't gone well, but people come on and tell you how well you've done.
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
But that does-
Okay,
that
on
happens.
several different occasions. Right. So it's going to sound really lofty. Once I did the Royal Albert Hall, right? Okay.
Like and subscribe.
And I was
Royal Albert
doing
Hall.
it. I did it. This guy said it's just so funny, right? He goes, "Yeah, you need to watch the acoustics here." He said because of the shape of the room and the way it's been set up. He said your voice will carry to the back of the room much slower.
Right.
Right. Now this really does affect your speech pattern, right? Because you do a joke and you hear nothing, and then as you go, they didn't like that.
Yeah.
Right? This laughter comes back at you while you're doing the next joke, and you have to adjust to it. Now, when you're doing a run through, it can scare the bejesus out of you. I actually rang someone up and said, "Have you ever played the Royal Albert Hall?" He just went, "Why are you showing up?" I went, "No." So when we did it, he said, "Don't worry about it." He said, "Listen, just gauge it on the performer before you." Well, the performer before you was the British Grenadier Guards. They walked in, there's about 90 of them, and they were playing music. There was no way to gauge it. They were going to love him anyway. When I went on stage, I was none the wiser. So I just slowed down, and that first minute or two, you thought you were dying, and then this laughter came back, which completely obliterated. So you had to jump and you had to really steady the ship. Yeah. Here's another example, right? So when I was in one of the forward operating bases in Afghanistan, they had whatever code it was, red, amber, whatever it was, which was imminent attack on all four sides. So everyone you're playing to has got their weapons and their knees loaded, right? And they're all watching the parapets. And this guy said to me, he said, they're going to concentrate a lot because they've been told to watch that and not you. So we did the gig, me and Andy Askins, at a double act, and the music act I thought had it the best because they could just belt the music out, right?
Listen to
you know.
it, yeah.
So I remember going on there and I was comparing, and I remember for the first 8 minutes I thought, this is horrendous, right? And then when the next guy came off, and he said, "God, that was horrendous." And then the next morning we were in the queue for breakfast, and this guy in an Afghan outfit came up to us, and we thought he was like a local, and this SAS guy said, "Your guys were really good last night," and it was him. It was such a. I just went, "Oh, thanks very much."
But that's a great example.
Yeah,
That's really good.
it really lifted us because when you're queuing up for breakfast with them, you expect them to come along and fucking go, "What the fuck are you doing here?" You know what I mean? Like, why have we bothered to waste our time with you? So yeah, there've been occasions, but I think when you don't know what you're doing, you're so vulnerable. That's the problem with stand-up. Is you need to have a lot of air miles to get the confidence. And this is why I keep using that analogy, because you are the pilot of the plane and you're pretty much on your own all the time. And if you take too many risks in good conditions, you can still mess up. But if you're in bad conditions, you need to get them and keep them, you know?
Another person has arrived.
There's 28 people here who say they're being interviewed.
Okay. Oh, this is... Okay, who's that? We'll find out later. Are you wearing a watch? We do a watching.
No, I'm not doing
He doesn't wear a watch. So I'm just going to come out of this interview with Sean Meo and talk about my watch. I don't know if you've been noticing, I've been wearing a watch throughout this episode, and this one is a beauty. This is a Vario. It's a Singaporean micro brand. This is the Trench and Medic 1918, so it's kind of based on what the army, I suppose, wore in the trenches and the medics. I'll put the description below, but it's a beautiful watch. If you can see this, it's very, very simple design, but I think it's beautiful. The colouring, I love the second hand, the little second hand there. Have a look close up, Frankie. What do you think of that one?
Lovely.
Do you like this one? It is really nice. We'd sometimes do a dark room thing, but you don't have to go there.
Dark room in
like
what?
mental health or anything like that. Have you kind of...
I was talking to somebody the other day, and I don't think there's anybody who doesn't at some point in their life struggle with something mentally. There's no way you can't, right? I think life's too difficult. You put little fences up and you find ways to deal with things. When you're talking about the sort of people you see wandering down the street in the middle of the night, you know, wearing nappies and directing traffic and cones on their heads, you know, like off their heads. No, I haven't had that, but I think, you know.
Yeah.
Well, students.
I've been.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a student thing.
That's,
Let me take a picture of Frankie. I always take a picture of Frankie in the face.
subscribe. You're dealing with a lot more in this life than you think, and let's be honest, you know, like the only reason humour exists, I think, really, is to take the edge out of how hard this life is. This is why I think the whole "you can't say this and you can't say that" thing is just a bit of overkill on we should be nicer to each other, which is fair enough, isn't it? You know what I mean? But I think in comedy there are exceptions to that. And that is, if you're very skilled and you decide to play a dark card, you shouldn't be marked down for it. And I think in the end, the audiences decide anyway. You know, it's one of the best things about comedy is you're not getting someone look at you like a gymnastics performance where they give you a score out of 10. Comics know when they're doing well, and they know when they've overstepped the mark, you know.
We got a few more. You can do this. Look in the mirror.
Oh my God.
Be a good shot, mate.
I hate you. Edit that out.
If you look in the mirror now, Shawnee
Yes.
boy,
Yes.
what do you see?
I
This is a
see
bit more-
somebody who feels a lot younger than they look.
Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough. Do you?
Well, I don't know. I'm 61.
Are you?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
You have to get comfortable with aging, don't you? But I mean, internally, still a child.
Is that what you see when you look in the mirror? You look all right.
I've seen how you look, and I look really much better than that. I mean, I think one of the things sometimes when you meet,
on? Okay.
I'm a fucking comedian, man. I don't be funny. So I think sometimes what I've found is that if you don't look after yourself, there comes a point where it just accelerates if you don't do something about it.
Yeah.
One of them is to pay for all your friends to look older. And the other one is to do some exercise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've always exercised. But paying for surgery for all your friends to look older, it's very expensive. Also, you have to break in their house and threaten. Was that the answer you expected?
That is exactly the answer. That's the one I'd written down for you. Thanks for coming, mate.
That's right.
We've got to do a selfie.
What am I doing?
I don't know. I really don't know. Brothers in arms.
Before surgery, after surgery. Before AIDS, after AIDS.
I'm not looking properly in the mirror. That's a really good interview, man. Oh, you like that? Sean Meo.
Hey, thank you very much.
Oh yeah, let's do the photographs.
Let's do the photo. Me and Sean went to Bosnia.
Did you?
Yeah.
You entertained the troops. He has this thing about the war. That's
I know.
why he does. Steve, I told you not to steal my car.
Aye.